It all began in the quiet village of Yumyuk, a place where everyone knew everyone, and life followed the rhythms of the seasons. Amara, the village beauty, was known for her kind heart and grace. One fateful morning, while returning from the stream with a clay pot balanced on her head, she saw him. He was tall, with piercing eyes that seemed to glow faintly in the sunlight. His bodice shimmered unnaturally, and he carried an air of mystery that made her stop in her tracks. "Good morning," he said, his voice deep and smooth, like a song that lingered in the air. "You must be Amara." She hesitated. "Yes, how do you know my name?" The man smiled, revealing perfect white teeth. "Your beauty is spoken of across these lands. My name is Ikin. I've come to start a new life." There was something unsettling about him, but she couldn't place it. She gave a polite nod and walked away, her heart pounding, unsure why the stranger had left her so uneasy. Ikin's arrival quickly became the talk of the village. He moved into the largest compound, bringing wealth and gifts that dazzled the elders and left the villagers in awe. His charm was irresistible, and he quickly won the favor of everyone, except Amara. No matter where she went, she felt his eyes on her. One evening, he arrived at her family's house with gifts of wine and yams. His confidence was unnerving as he declared, "I want Amara to be my wife." Her parents, blinded by his wealth, were overjoyed. Her father said, "This is a blessing from the gods. You must accept." Amara tried to protest, but her father's stern glare silenced her. "You will marry him," he said. "This is not up for discussion." Amara nodded reluctantly, though every fiber of her being screamed that something was wrong. In the days leading up to the wedding, Amara sought out Mama Aduak, the village's wise woman. She poured out her fears, her voice trembling. "Mama, there's something about him. I don't trust him." Mama Aduak's face darkened. She burned herbs and muttered incantations. The smoke rose, forming shapes in the air, shapes of fire, shadows, and chains. "This man is bound to powers not of this world," Mama Aduak said. "If you marry him, you will never escape." Amara's heart pounded. "What should I do?" "Run," Mama Aduak said. "Run far away and never look back." Amara returned home, determined to flee, but her father blocked her path. "Mama Aduak is an old fool," he said. "You will marry Ikin and honor this family." Defeated, Amara had no choice but to prepare for the wedding. The wedding was a grand affair, but Amara felt like a lamb being led to the slaughter. As she exchanged vows with Ikin, she heard a whisper in her mind. "You are mine now." She glanced at him, but his face was calm, even loving. Was she imagining things? That night, in Ikin's mansion, the air felt thick and oppressive. Shadows flickered on the walls, moving as though they were alive. Amara woke in the middle of the night to find Ikin standing by the bed, his eyes glowing faintly in the dark. "Sleep, my love," he said softly. "We have forever." Over the next few days, the mansion revealed its secrets. Amara heard whispers in the walls and saw servants who avoided her gaze. One night, she discovered a locked door at the end of a long corridor. Pressing her ear against it, she heard chanting in a strange language. Before she could act, Ikin appeared behind her, his voice like a thunderclap. "This room is forbidden," he said, his eyes burning with anger. "Do not test me." Amara nodded, fear gripping her heart. She began to understand that she was not just a bride, she was a prisoner. One fateful night, Amara woke to whispers calling her name. Against her better judgment, she followed them to the locked door. This time it was slightly open. Inside, she found a shrine, its walls carved with demonic figures. At the center was an altar dripping with fresh blood. On the altar lay a book bound in leather, its pages glowing faintly. As she reached for the book, a cold hand gripped her shoulder. She spun around to see Ikin, his face twisted with fury. "You shouldn't be here," he growled. His eyes glowed brighter, and the room seemed to shudder with his anger. "Who are you?" Amara cried. "What is this place?" Ikin's face softened, but his eyes remained cold. I warned you, he said. Now, you will see the truth. With a wave of his hand, the symbols on the walls glowed, and shadows coiled around them like living creatures. I am bound to powers beyond this world, he said. And now, so are you. Terrified, Amara fled to Mama Aduak. The old seer handed her a charm. This will protect you for a while, but to break the curse, you must destroy the spirit's heart. It's hidden in his domain. Amara returned to the mansion, pretending all was well. Over the next few days, she noticed Ikin spending time in the basement. One night, while he was away, she unlocked the door and descended the stairs. At the bottom, she found a glowing gemstone shaped like a heart. It pulsed as though alive. Just as she reached for it, shadows rose, forming a monstrous figure. You dare to defy me? The beast roared. Summoning her courage, Amara grabbed the heart. The charm around her neck flared, keeping the beast at bay. I will not be your prisoner, she screamed, smashing the heart on the ground. The beast roared in pain as the mansion shook. Light burst from the cracks, consuming the shadows. When the dust settled, Ikin was gone, and Amara was free. But as she walked away, she couldn't shake the feeling that the darkness wasn't gone, it was waiting. As the mansion crumbled behind her, Amara walked into the night, clutching the charm Mama Aduak had given her. The village was eerily quiet, as though it too had felt the battle that had just taken place. She looked over her shoulder at the ruins, her heart heavy with relief and unease. When she reached Mama Aduak's hut, the old woman was already waiting, her face shadowed with worry. It is done, isn't it? Mama Aduak asked, her voice soft but firm. Amara nodded. The spirit's heart is destroyed. But something doesn't feel right. Mama Aduak sighed deeply, leading Amara inside. The destruction of the heart has severed the spirit's bond to this world, but spirits like that do not disappear easily. It will search for a new vessel, Amara. That is why you must leave this village for good. Amara's heart sank. Leave? But this is my home. Mama Aduak placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. If you stay, the spirit will find you again. It knows your scent, your fear. It will not rest until it regains its power. You must start over somewhere far away. The next morning, as the first light of dawn touched the village, Amara packed her belongings. The villagers were still shaken by the mysterious collapse of Ikin's mansion, and whispers of curses and angry gods filled the air. No one stopped Amara as she walked through the village gates for the last time. Her journey was long and lonely. She avoided people, afraid the spirit might be lurking in the shadows of strangers. Every night, she would pray, clutching the charm that now hung around her neck. Though its light had dimmed, it still gave her a faint sense of safety. Months later, Amara found herself in a bustling town far from Umyuk. The noise and energy of the place were overwhelming at first, but she soon found work as a weaver, creating beautiful fabrics that reminded her of home. For the first time in months, she began to feel a sense of peace. But peace is never permanent. One evening, as she locked up her small shop, she felt it, a presence, faint but familiar. The hairs on the back of her neck stood on end, and the air around her grew cold. She turned quickly, scanning the empty street, but there was nothing there. Amara, a whisper floated on the wind, chilling her to the bone. She spun around, clutching her charm, her heart pounding. The following days were filled with unease. Strange things began to happen. Small objects in her shop would move on their own, and she often felt as though she was being watched. One night, she woke to find the charm around her neck glowing faintly. The whispers had returned. You thought you could escape me? The voice hissed, low and menacing. You destroyed my heart, but you cannot destroy me. Amara's chest tightened. The spirit had found her. Desperate for answers, Amara sought out the local wise woman, an elderly woman named Mama Ifani. Amara recounted her story, tears streaming down her face. Mama Ifani listened silently, her expression grim. You are being hunted by a spirit that refuses to let go, Mama Ifani said. Destroying its heart was not enough. To banish it forever, You must confront it where it is strongest, in the realm of shadows. Amara's blood ran cold. The realm of shadows? How do I even get there? Mama Ifani handed her a bundle of herbs and a small bowl. There is a ritual, but it is dangerous. If you fail, you'll be trapped in the spirit's domain forever. That night, Amara performed the ritual. The air around her grew heavy, and the world seemed to blur. When she opened her eyes, she was no longer in her small room. She stood in a dark, endless expanse, the ground beneath her feet glowing faintly with strange symbols. From the shadows, the spirit emerged, its form monstrous and twisted. You should have stayed hidden, Amara, it growled. Now you are mine. Amara held the charm tightly, its light flaring as she stepped forward. You don't own me, she said, her voice trembling but defiant. Not anymore. The spirit lunged, its claws slicing through the air. Amara dodged, raising the charm. By the power of my ancestors, I banish you, she shouted, her voice echoing through the realm. The charm blazed with light, and the spirit howled in pain. The ground beneath it cracked, and a blinding light erupted, consuming the darkness. The spirit's form twisted and shrank until it was nothing but ash. Amara woke up in her room. The charm in her hand burned and cracked. She knew the spirit was gone for good, but the experience had left its mark. She had faced darkness and survived, but she would never be the same. She left the town the next morning, determined to keep moving forward. Her journey was far from over, but she carried the strength of her ancestors with her, knowing she could face whatever came next. And as she walked into the rising sun, she whispered, I am free. What would you do if faced with an impossible choice like Amara's? Would you listen to your instincts, seek help, or confront your fears? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If this story inspired you, give it a like and subscribe for more thrilling tales that blend courage, culture, and timeless lessons. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss a story that might just change your perspective. Your next journey of discovery starts here.